Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying sane. This is Chris Alicia from Ascended Warrior and the host of Intentionality on Awake TV. I wanted to reach out today to really talk to you about the nature of stress and depression. So many of us find ourselves locked in a pattern of pain. It's really the only way I can describe it. We have series in our lives where we just fall into these depths of despair, where everything seems to crumble around us. Nothing goes right. We wake up in pain. We go to sleep in pain. We dream of pain. This roller coaster of life is something I am incredibly familiar with, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. We do things throughout our lives in the service of others, in the service of self, that leave little scars on our body, in our mind, on our emotions. And it's just like the old Chinese torture tactic, death by 1,000 little cuts. That's very much what suffering is. As we get older, we have accumulated so many little cuts, along with some giant gouges of trauma that just sit on our bodies and weigh us down and keep bringing us back and back and back to this place of despair. And we can sit there and ask ourselves over and over, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep feeling like this? Why can't I just be happy? Why is the world doing this to me? And through all of my research, all of my studies into spirituality, into ancient religions, into psychology, into sociology, into anthropology, I'm going to give you a basic answer. The reason that we suffer is because we have lost hope. We have lost hope in who and what we are. We don't have faith in ourselves anymore. In fact, most of the times we don't even know who we are anymore. We think of ourselves as a daughter, as a soldier, as a medic, as a teacher, as a wife, as a mother. But what are you? Who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you're supposed to be doing in life? Do you have faith that you can do what you're supposed to do? That you are meant to reach all of your dreams and all of your goals? If you answer no to any of those, it is no wonder that you feel sadness and loneliness and despair. I know I had lost hope for a very, very long time. When I got out of the military, I went through 4 years of just darkness, where I would go to work and I would come home and just repeat this cycle of zombieism, where I was getting up and I was going through the emotions, but really what I was doing was ignoring the pain that was building and building and building inside of me. I wasn't happy with where I was in my career. I had lost so much when I left the military. I'd lost the family that I built behind there. I'd lost that sense of purpose. I lost who I labeled myself as. I labeled myself as a soldier. I labeled myself as accomplished, as someone who served a bigger cause than myself. And I lost all of that. And when I did, going into this zombieism, following the pattern of this 9-to-5 job, moving through the motions of friendships that I didn't always understand, being around a family that didn't quite understand me anymore, losing touch with who I was while I was a soldier, no longer being able to reach back to see who I was before I joined the military, and now really just going through the motions and not even acknowledging that I didn't know who I was anymore, that I had been identifying with a label, with my accomplishments, and not with who I was on the inside. And that pain, that lack of understanding built and built and built inside of me until it erupted like a volcano. until everything in my world crashed down. Our world is made of energy. We put out an electromagnetic field. And when you're putting out a negative charge all the time, when your world feels dark and desperate, the world around you is going to look dark and desperate. It's how it works. So in my darkness, in my fear, in my depression, I started to lose everything. I lost a man that I loved and I was living with. I was in physical pain. I had horrible chronic pain, so I was not sleeping. I wasn't sleeping for days at a time. I had a job that did not fit me. It made me feel stupid at sometimes and unchallenged at others. I did not have the same circle of friends that I had in the military. I felt like I had to suffer alone, that I couldn't tell my family what I was going through because they wouldn't understand. I couldn't tell my civilian friends what I was going through because they couldn't understand. I no longer had my significant other to lean on. And to top it all off, I didn't have enough money to pay for the place that we'd been living in together. So my entire world felt like it was crashing down. And in fact, it was crashing down. This was the dark night of the soul. This was me passing through a time period where I saw nothing good. I completely lost hope for the future. But I found a way to start flicking on tiny little lights in this super dark pit that I was living in. I had enough courage to recognize that my suffering was not normal. This was not something I needed to do. I did not need to put my head down and just plow through. There was a better way for me to get through this. There had to be a better way for me to get through it because I wasn't going to make it. I would have welcomed death in a heartbeat. That's not what I wanted for myself. I knew that the world had something better out there. So I went searching. I went searching through every metaphysical tradition you can look into, every physical tradition, yoga, qigong, kung fu, tai chi. For the physical pain, I looked into mindfulness, meditation, dream work, just about anything you can imagine. I started researching. I even looked into Einstein's work and Freud's work, looking into massive scientific minds who had told us, here's why we are the way that we are. And I'll tell you what I figured out. We are not meant to suffer. We are not meant to be in pain. Those painful experiences that we carry on us like badges of honor have little emotions attached to them. So every time you think of an experience, that emotion that you attach to it rides on your shoulder as well. So you feel it again. Your body feels it again. It's a visceral pain every time you think about it. It doesn't have to be. I learned that I did not need to suffer. That while I carried those experiences and those scars, and I always will, I did not need to carry the pain and the emotion that was associated with them. All of the trials that I had in the military, all of the times that I was abused or hurt or felt worthless, I did not have to continuously relive those. I could let them go. And how I had to do that was to find out who I was, not who the world named me to be, not who I learned that I was in school, not who my parents thought that I was, not who my friends thought that I was. I had to find out who I was intimately. I had to know myself in order to have hope, that there was hope, that I didn't need to suffer. I wore that suffering like a martyr. I felt that I deserved whatever pain that I carried. Maybe it showed that I lived an amazing life. Maybe it showed that I served my country. Maybe it showed that I'd done something worthwhile. Can't really say. What I can say was it weighed me down to the point that I was ready to die. When I started searching for me, when I started using ancient traditions to find out who I was, I learned the most amazing thing in the world. I learned that I am exactly who I am meant to be. I am not a collection of scars. I am not the child of an abusive parent. I am not a cancer survivor. I am not a former military person. I'm not a whistleblower. I'm not someone who went up against the good old boy system. I'm Chris. I am exactly who I am meant to be. I learned to love myself. And not only does that give me hope for what my future holds, it gives me passion to find out what my future holds. I am exactly who I was meant to be. Every experience added a layer and a piece to this just badass person that's sitting in front of you right now. I had to learn that. I had to learn that all of those experiences weren't there to weigh me down. They were opportunities for me to understand just how strong I was. They were opportunities for me to learn to forgive others, to forgive myself, to release pain. Every single time I was pushed, every single time I felt like I suffered was a chance for me to stand up, learn what I could from the experience, and let it go. And every single time that I went through something like that, I came out stronger. So when I started researching who I was, I learned I was magnificent. I did. I know who I am. I know what I am, and I know why I am on this planet. There are ways to learn who you are. You do not need to suffer. You do not need to lose hope. You do not need to think for 1 second that you are a mistake, that your life has been a failure, that you have no purpose on this planet. Because I promise you that you do. I promise you that you do. This is the time to stand up. If this message resonates with you at all, stand up and find out who you are. Find out why you're here on this planet, what your gifts are, what your greatest strengths are. Learn to let go of that emotional attachment that sits on your shoulder and torments you because you don't need to carry it. You don't deserve it. You do not deserve to suffer. And you can learn how to let those things go so that they never bother you again. Life is a journey of lessons. Pretty common knowledge. We come in, we get challenged a lot, and we grow. The flip side is we come in, we get challenged a lot, and we let it drown us. Don't drown in your pain. Don't give in to that sorrow. Don't lose hope. And if you have, you can get it back. Have hope for who you are. Have hope in what you are. There are ways to learn you. This is the secret. This is the secret to happiness. This is the secret to my happiness, is I learned who I am so that even when the world knocks me down, and it does, I'm able to look in a mirror and say, I know who you are. I know I am exactly who I am meant to be. If that resonates with you at all, find that hope. Find yourself. Learn yourself. Think of all the things that you've had to learn over your life that you thought were foolish information you would never use again. This is not foolish information. This will change your life. Learn who you are. Learn what you are. Learn that you are here for a reason, and that everything that's happened to you in your life created a magnificent person. You are exactly who you are meant to be. And I can prove it to you. Edgar Cayce from Virginia Beach was an amazing man in the 1940s and prior. He created programs to help people find out who they are inside, what gifts they were born with, what strengths they were innately born with that we forget about or we have beaten out of us as we age. This program of really finding out who that person was helped them to choose careers that gave them passion, to find relationships that gave them balance and completion and teamwork. It helped them understand their children and their spouses, to build stronger relationships, to have hope for the future, because they knew themselves. They were able to understand the world around them so much more clearly. So I've taken that program of Edgar Cayce and added in some of the wonderful stuff that I've learned through just a decade of study to find out who I was. This is a program I created for me, that I used for me to find out who I was. This is what I'm offering back. The suffering that we have gone through as people, as veterans, as first responders, as survivors of trauma, of abuse. I'm giving back the hope that you do not need to suffer, that you are not alone. There are thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of us out there that have suffered, that have given more of ourselves than we thought we had, that have lost hope for the future. I offer a program to help you get that hope back, to find out who you are, to learn yourself, to love yourself, to embrace your gifts, and build your entire life on the knowledge of who and what you are. So if that resonates with you at all, if you want to step out of that darkness, if you want to start turning on lights in this dark night of the soul to help you see the future better, I would be honored to support you. I am a veteran. I am a sufferer of PTSD. I was a child of abuse. I am a cancer survivor. I'm freaking awesome. I know who I am. I love who I am. And I want to teach you to do that as well. So if that resonates with you at all, reach out to me. Let me know. We can schedule a call, talk through what your goals are, and then come up with a plan together. You don't have to do this alone. You do not have to suffer, and you absolutely do not have to do this alone. I know how intimidating it is. It took me 10 years to get to this point. I can condense down that timeline for you into a couple of months. I guarantee within the first session, you're going to know more about yourself. You're an amazing, amazing person. You're exactly who you're meant to be. And I want to prove it to you. So if you're interested, reach out to me and let me know. I've got a couple spots left open in my program. And I want to give this to the community. We have given so much of ourselves. It's time to find out who you are and get those pieces of you back. So until next time, my beautiful, beautiful family, to all the veterans, first responders, medics, workers that remain out there in the world while the rest of us are trying to stay home and healthy and safe. Thank you so much for your service, for your courage, for your love, and for your willingness to give. Thank you.